All right, let's welcome in our guest, my teammate with the Dallas Mavericks, Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim, we had a week delay on this, but we're excited to have you on the show.
Yeah, Memphis got to us a little bit, a little cornhole action. So happy to be on the show, man.
Well, we appreciate it. I think the biggest sense of joy and sense of relief that I have is that we avoided the play-in game. When I was traded here, we were in 7th place, and I kind of was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was like kind of like, but we ended up in 5th. We've talked about the play-in game on the show a little bit, and it's been mostly negative. Yeah. But I got to say, over the last 2 weeks, I think I've really, and a lot of people have said this, but I think I've really seen the value of it. Because going into that last weekend, those last, call it 2-3 games that everybody had to play, you had basically 75% of the league that was still playing for something. The games still mattered, and there was still a lot of high-level basketball being played. And then, of course, you got the Memphis Golden State game. We're going to get Lakers and Warriors in the play-in game. It's funny how it all turned out right for the NBA.
Yes, most definitely. And, I talked to you about this a bunch of times. I don't really take naps. I'll be laying down before the day of the game after shoot around. But my eyes were glued to that TV. I think this had to be one of the most exciting periods of basketball that I've been a part of watching, because you don't know what's going to happen. So I think it was just a great turnout, I would say, for the NBA. And these next few games are probably going to be some of the most watched basketball of the season and going into the playoffs. So I'm excited.
How closely could you guys follow the different scenarios? Because it was objectively very confusing of the Clippers and all the different moving parts of what was going to happen with the tiebreakers and everything like that. Like, even if you're involved, did you really know what was going down?
Man, we were in the game against Minnesota, and we were looking up at the scoreboard with all the teams playing. And we see Portland in the first quarter up 20. We're like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, if we lose this, we're going to drop to 6. But after the game, everybody's like, we stayed in 5th because I guess we had the division. We won our division. So even though all teams evened out and had the same record, we ended up getting 5th. So, it was mind blowing. I didn't know what to expect or how to take it, but we were excited just to, as JJ Redick said, not be in the play-in tournament. Thank God.
You can call me JJ on my podcast, by the way. You don't have to use my full name.
I've been calling you this for the past, ever since I've been in the leagues, watching you at Duke, so I'm gonna call you your full name.
Can we talk about the fact? I'm glad you brought this up. Can we talk about the fact that I've been on the team now for, I guess, almost 2 months, and Rick Carlisle still calls me Redick, as if I'm on the opposing team.
He calls everybody that. They're they come over and he was calling James Johnson that when he was on the team. So he was calling by his full name and trying to figure out nicknames of when. We call us Josh Green Greeny. We're not calling him Greeny on the team.
I asked a couple of people on the team. I was like, why does he call me Redick? And basically, the best answer I could get was that there's only one JJ with the Mavs, and that's JJ Barea.
Yes.
So he was so used to. So JJ is JJ, and I'm Redick. In regards to the Tommy, your question, I think one of the cool things that happened. It happened a little bit to a degree in the East, but not to the extent that it did in the West, where you had 5, 6, and 7 jockeying to get out of the play-in game. Yeah. You had 3 and 4 in a neck-and-neck race, finagling it quite a bit on who they wanted to match up with. And it ended up, and I guess I didn't quite comprehend this, but it ended up where the top 6 teams in every conference, they're rewarded for their regular season. Because now we're looking at essentially 5 or 6 days off from games. It gives guys time to recover from injury, give guys time to get fresh. Where in a normal season, you end on Wednesday, and you're playing by Saturday. So you have two or 3 days off, whether you have the Saturday game or the Sunday game. So I think there's a real benefit. Obviously, it sucks if you're the 7 or 8 seed, but it gives some hope. Like Washington, for example, that's the team that I think with their lineup and their superstar power, they can make a little run here and make things interesting. They're a team because of COVID this year that was just decimated early on. And then I think they're 23-7 or their last 30. Their record over their last, or 17-6. I'm sorry, over the last 23. So they finished the season strong, and now they're in a position where they can make a run.
Mm-hmm. They played Boston, right?
Yeah.
That's. I mean, that team. I think probably is the most dangerous team out of the 4. Going into the play-in tournament, just because you have a guy that in Russell Westbrook that's on a tear. And ended the season strong, and I think ended the season averaging a triple-double again. We're looking at it like, okay, he averaged a triple-double, like big deal. But people don't understand that's very hard to do, especially at a guy at that size, grabbing rebounds, 10 rebounds a game, making sure the guys get the ball in the right position throughout the entire game all the time. Everybody's taking that for granted, and it's something special to watch. But yeah, that team definitely going into the play-in, I think, is the most dangerous. And if they win their play-in tournament, their play-in game, and who they're going to meet up, who is second? Who's second in the East?
They play the Nets.
The Nets.
So they play Brooklyn.
He's going to have something to do with him and the KD situation, and him going up against those guys. So. It's gonna be exciting. That's gonna be a fun series to watch.
The NBA would love that.
Yes,
the NBA would love that. I feel like Russell Westbrook. I mean, we've talked about him a ton on the show, but I feel like Russell Westbrook basically drinks a non-alcoholic Four Loko before every game. It is amazing to me the level of energy that he plays with every night. For whatever it is now, 12 years, 13 years, however long he's been in the league. And he just, there's no boredom with him. There's no boredom to averaging a triple-double.
Not at all.
He goes after every triple-double like it's his first triple-double. Like, oh, I got to get 10 rebounds. It's actually insane.
Yeah, I want to ask the bigs if they let him grab rebounds or I wonder how that goes, because sometimes he'll just flying out of nowhere. And, the bigs, that's how they make their bread and butter out here in the league, is grabbing boards and controlling that glass. But, like I said, him at 6'4", 6'5", doing what he does, it's remarkable, man. It's crazy.
All right, we're matched up against the Clippers in the first round. You guys, I was not on the team, obviously. You guys played them in the first round in the bubble last year. What do you remember from that series? What are your takeaways from that series?
The physicality that all guys brought from their team. And then you add a veteran presence now in Rondo and DeMarcus Cousins, and Nicholas Batum and Serge Ibaka. Their team definitely, I think, got stronger and a lot better. And with PG and Kawhi playing the same exact way, and the guys, they're guys coming off the bench, and Terrence Mann, he's been doing a great job coming off the bench while Pat Bev been out, and Luke Kennard as well. So they've been rolling on all cylinders, and I think the difference, something what I can take from the playoffs last year is the physicality, the trash talking. With Morris and a lot of the other guys, and just the tenacity and the margin of error that you can't have, against those guys, because they will capitalize on all cylinders if you're messing up out there.
I forgot last year in the playoffs is when Trez called Luka a bitch ass white boy, right? Yeah. It was in that series.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had to talk about it on the pod. I think we talked about it with KD actually on the pod, right after that. So there's some I don't want to call it bad blood, because Trez is, on the Lakers now, but there's definitely an incentive there for us because they beat us last year.
Yeah.
My memory of that series, of course, is Game 4 when Luka hit that step back three. And at the end of regulation, Kawhi Leonard had a chance to win it and missed. So I was literally explaining to Knox, my oldest son, we were watching the game live. I was telling him about who the best players were on each team. And I was explaining to him what a buzzer beater was on that last possession of regulation. And he missed. And then in overtime, like on cue, Luka hits a step back three buzzer beater. And so for some reason, Knox doesn't watch a lot of basketball, but he knows what a buzzer beater is and he knows who Luka is because of that play. That's the only reason.
That's awesome. That's right.
You've seen Luka do some amazing things since you've been here. Mm-hmm. I have not been here long, 2 months, but you almost get spoiled with the shot making, with the one-legged step backs, stopping on a dime. Like there's this move that he does where he's going left, he stops on a dime on the left shot side and shoots like an 18-footer off the backboard.
Yeah. It's
just such an unconventional way to score, I feel like. And there's no one that really does it like him.
Right. And I, like you said, being with him for 2 to 3 years now, I mean, he's doing this shit in practice. So it's not even new to us anymore. And when he's doing it in the game, it's like we expect him to make that shot because he does it so many times in practice. And he just started shooting mid ranges out of nowhere this season. And there's guys, the analytic people. I'm not going to harp on them. They got jobs. We got jobs. We can control, but that 2-pointer, those 2-point mid-range shots, JJ, you take a lot, I take a lot. Yeah, he just started making that and started taking those a lot more. And those things add up throughout the course of the game. So, just him stopping on the dime, starting to post up, shoot fadeaway off the glass, runners. He's doing trick shots before the game, as you see. That's just what he does at this point. We can't even be surprised anymore.
You've been around a lot of elite shot makers since you were born, and you've seen this with him and you've seen this with other teammates and everything like that. Have you had moments where I'm thinking about the Memphis game from a couple months ago, but there's been a ton of them where you're just like, what the fuck? Like I talk about this with JJ sometimes, like someone should not be able to make a shot like that casually and just walk off the court as if it was nothing.
Yeah. From when I was born, my dad made a bunch of shots, but not at I don't think at the degree of difficulty that Luka's making them, where you Euro and one-legged floater in between around two defenders like he did in Memphis, and he's leaning, and it goes in all net, and he's walking off like you said, like it's like nonchalant, like he's done this before, which he has in practice. So it's like I said, I don't think we are surprised as much, but when he does it in the game and it's the game is online and he makes those shots, it's kind of like you're excited, but at the same time, it's like, damn, he does this basically all the time when we're clowning around or when we're just shooting around and messing around out in practice. So it's not even new to us.
I always like it when they show the ridiculous shots that he makes in warmups. Mm-hmm. They do this with Steph too. I think Trae Young's had a few that have gone viral. I would like to see a compilation of all the misses.
Yeah.
Because what people don't understand about Luka making these shots is that in a given warm-up for a game, he's taking like 6 to 10 non-basketball shots. If you extrapolate that over 82 games, he's taking like 800 of these stupid shots every season. So yeah, I would hope he makes 5 of them.
For sure. And he's still trying to make, how the shot in warm-up when DP throws it high in the air and he's still trying to shoot it off his shoulder. Like, I bet that shot probably 10 times, and he still hasn't done it. And that's dating all the way back before the All-Star break. So, I mean, yeah, he does that shot only twice every warm-up. So if you just calculate that, then I'm pretty sure he's done it over 100 times.
And he's hit the rim once.
And he has hit him one time, and that was last game. He almost made it last game.
You ended the season on what I would describe as an incredible hot streak. I looked it up today. Over your last 9 games, our team's last 10 games, because you sat out one game, you were at about 68% true shooting percentage, 66% effective field goal percentage, over 50 from 3. Was this the hottest streak you've had as an NBA player? Do you feel like you had a 36-point game in Miami with 10 threes? You had a 42-point game against Detroit. You had a bunch of other 20-plus point games where you were shooting incredibly efficient. Is this the best you've been offensively?
Yeah, I would say that. I think I always talk to my dad, and I always talk to my friends that played basketball with me ever since I was in high school, and my college teammates that I still talk to this day. And, they just try to do an amazing job just to make sure I stayed positive, and just surrounding yourself with a group of people that know the game, and being able to talk to my mom, which has been around the game since my dad was in high school. I mean, talking to her, she knows the game probably more than any of these guys that have played the game and been around the game. So just being able to talk to them, and then me going to JJ and talking to him, and I was like, I had to talk to the sharpshooter himself. Like, what can I do, or what goes through your mind when you're having somewhat of a shooting slump? And JJ was like, man, just think 8 for 12. Just think 8 for 12. And I also took that into account and just tried to implement that into my mindset of just going out there and shooting the ball. And once that 42-point game happened, it just took off from there.
I don't want to say you were in a slump. I just want to follow up on this conversation, because I don't want to say you were in a slump, but I would describe it as it was like when I first got on the team, like you were consistent. The minutes kind of fluctuated, but the shooting was consistent. And then you had like a 5 or 6 game stretch where you had a couple down games in there. You had a couple average games, but you could tell it wasn't flowing.
Right.
And I don't want to say you were pressing, because I don't know that you press. I don't think you necessarily press, but it felt like the flow was off a little bit. And so throughout my career, at least when I've played big minutes and been asked to take double-digit shots on a team, my mindset has always been 8 for 12. And 8 for 12 is basically like if I take 12 good shots tonight, I'm going to make 8.
Right.
I can't think about every single shot and putting weight on every single shot. If I do that, I'm going to struggle. You have to be in that flow. And you got in that flow. I wanted to read you this. I know you golf too. I wanted to read you this Rory quote that I found. It was actually during your hot streak, and I thought of you. And the quote was, when you're playing bad, you feel so far away. And when you're playing good, you always think to yourself, how did I feel like I was so far away?
Right.
And it's amazing how quickly that can turn.
Yeah.
And it turned for you in the Detroit game.
And I think that also, went to account of just being around family as well. When you have family, my mom, my parents and my sisters, they live in outside of Detroit now. My dad was the assistant coach for the Pistons years back. But just being able to go see them and being able to be at home around your family, your parents, and being able to sit down with your dad and watch basketball the whole entire night, that right there, I think really just helped, clear a lot in the air, clear my mind, and help me go out there and do what I do best.
It's amazing. It's amazing, Tommy, what being around your family can do for you, for your performance.
We've never talked about that on this show.
Or,
my bad.
Don't worry, everybody does it. It comes up every third episode.
Thanks for bringing this up, Tim. I appreciate it.
Just capitalize F in family. I have a question for both of you guys about just being shooters coming off the bench and how you sort of get yourself into the flow. Because I know obviously JJ, when in LA and Philly and everything like that, like the team will make a concerted effort to get you shots very early in the game, if not the first shot of the game, the second or third shot of the game. So you can see that whether or not it goes in, you can at least, get one off. Versus like if you're coming off the bench, you just don't know that that's going to happen. And you might be out there for 3 minutes before you get something off. So how do you mentally wrap your head around that?
It's a great question, Tommy.
Thank you.
It's a great question, Tommy.
Damn good question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think, for me, early in my career, I had to figure that out because at Duke, I had pretty much every play ran for me. and then even to a degree, my rookie year, we had this play. So we ran chin action. I don't know if we ran the Princeton offense. So everything was out of the chin set, which is basically 5 people high. For some reason, we had Dwight Howard playing out of the high post as a passer in a Princeton offense. Don't ask me why. But out of that set, we had an ATO for me where I would make the chin cut. So I would guard to guard up top, pass the other guard. I'd get a rip screen from the big, and I'd shallow cut through the baseline and act like I was going to the corner, which was what you normally do in chin action. And then the big would turn around and down screen me, and I'd come up top and shoot the ball. And Brian Hill ran that for me. I would say either the first or the second play I was in every single time. As soon as I got in the game, I was getting that play. And that got me going a little bit. And then I figured it out with Stan. That was another adjustment period early in my career. I just, to be honest with you, I never figured it out this year. And some of that at times, Stan was a little more consistent. But even with Dallas, like it's been, some games I get it at 3 minutes, some games 2 minutes, some games right at the beginning of the second quarter. Okay, I'm ready to go at the beginning of the second quarter. And then sometimes it's like, I'm getting it at 11:30, 10:50. So I think for me, and I've expressed this to every coach I played for that I've come off the bench. Like for me, it's like, I need to know like when you want me to be geared up so that when I'm in, I'm ready to go. And as a starter, you don't have to deal with that because from the jump, you are going to be in the flow of the game.
JJ, were you the only shooter on the floor at the time when you got those plays ran for you? Was the point guard, was he a great shooter? Was he a great coming down, shooting the ball? Or it was just like, well, this is JJ's the shooter, we got to give him the ball?
Yeah, my first year in Orlando was probably we didn't have a ton of outside shooting. I usually played my minutes with Carlos Arroyo, who was more of a mid-range guy, more of a pick and roll guy. We had Trevor Ariza, who at the time he's made a ton of threes in his career, but at the time didn't take a lot of threes. He was the other guy on the wing with me that I played with a bit that year, Keon Dooling. So yeah, I was probably the shooter on that second unit when I did play my rookie year.
Okay.
Why do you think that matters?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was just, I think it was just more so when I'm starting and I'm with Luka, KP, Dorian Finney-Smith, which has become a really, really good outside shooter from the corners and from the wings. And basically when he's open, he's been lining it up lately. And then Dwight Powell is our guy that picks and rolls and collapses the defense when he's in there and finds the shooters and so on and so forth. But I think when you have guys that are all capable of knock down 3-point shooters, and they could get a shot off at any given point when they're out there, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of tough, you got the guy that gets his shots, that has the ball 70 to 80% of the time. Then you got the next guy that needs his shots, which is like the 10 to 15% when the play is called for him. And then the third, fourth guys, which are the shooters and the other guys that can get it going at any time to help those two guys out. when they get shots, they knock them down and when they're open. But I feel like when those guys go out, that's when my time or Jalen Brunson for this team, that's our time to really, be more in an attack mode and be able to really put our foot on the gas, I would say, just so we can keep that spark going once those guys are sitting down.
That makes a lot of sense. I think you're a lot of people would think, right? You're playing with, let's say, another great player, and yes, you're going to be as a byproduct of that, you will get some open shots. Right. But the rhythm of being the focal point of the offense and having plays ran for you is totally different, and the flow right. and there's a confidence in every shot you take because another one's coming your way. I think back to my 7th year, my first year playing in Orlando without Stan. Obviously, my rookie year was Brian Hill. My 7th year, Jacques Vaughn came in as the head coach, and I had a really good preseason, really good training camp. And he came to me the day before our first game, and he's like, "Look, man," he's like, "I think you could be a starter on this team, but for the betterment of the team, I want you to be," he was coming from San Antonio. He's like, "I want you to be our Manu Ginobili." Now, obviously, Jacques said that. I never said that. I am not Manu Ginobili, one of the greatest two guards ever. But in my mind, it clicked. I'm like, oh, well, this is going to be the first time where I'm going to have plays called for me. The offense is going to run through me when I'm in. And up to that point, that was my career year. And then when I got to LA, I always knew first quarter and third quarter, plays are going to be called. The offense is going through me. Those first 6 minutes of the first quarter, the first 6 minutes of the third quarter. And then the rest of the game, you learn to play off Blake. You learn to play off CP. You learn to play off Jamal. And so I think there's a rhythm to that. And it gives you confidence if for 5 or 6 minutes of the game that you're going to be one of the focal points of the offense. I don't know what it is. It's just easier to make shots.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think where your shots are coming. You know when to expect them. You have, like you said, the rhythm of the flow of the game plays a huge role in that. And yeah, here, it's definitely that. Just when you get those opportunities, just be able to knock them down.
You kind of answered my question that I was going to ask you, because at times in your career, you've been a starter. At times you've kind of fulfilled that Manu Ginobili, Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford, 6-man scorer role. And it sounds like you don't necessarily, do you have a preference of whether you'd like to be a starter or coming off the bench? But it sounds like it doesn't really matter as long as it's how you play when you're in there and who you play with when you're in there.
Yeah, that as well. But JJ, growing up as a kid and being in college and going to schools, and you grow up, you always wanted to be in that starting lineup line with your name called. Before the game's going on, the crowd is the guy announces your name and the crowd is standing up and applauding and all that stuff, and you're there for that tip off. Like that tip off means something, especially like in big games in the playoffs. Like those 10 guys out there, that's like, okay, it's time to go. But, as my career went on and, the coach and staff here, they wanted me to call the bench. I was willing to do that. And you have fans and you're coming off the bench and the fans are like, they know that you're that guy to come off the bench and they're applauding you as well because you're going out there and competing and doing what you do. So for me, like you said, right now I really don't care at this point for the team this year just because of everything that's been going on with COVID and people sitting out and everybody have to be flexible with their role on the team. But at the same time, once you're out there, just go out there and bust your ass on both ends of the floor and get yourself involved if you haven't seen the ball in so many possessions, whether that's getting a rebound or getting a deflection or a steal or a charge, so that's what I try to do.
Tim, I was meaning to ask you this in general. JJ and I were just like looking back at your career, and we talk a lot with different guys about fits and just, luck of the draw to a certain extent about what situation you're put in when you're younger and everything like that. But you had a lot of situations where you were playing well and you weren't necessarily treated as well as you were sort of playing, whether with the trades or being sent down and being moved around and everything like that. How did you kind of keep your mental headspace when you were a young guy and you're like, you know what, I'm getting into the league. I don't know. You're not where you are now, where you've more established. I'm sort of figuring stuff out. How did you kind of keep yourself level headed? Because that's a lot to deal with for a young guy being kind of like jerked around a little bit.
Was it in the beginning of my career?
Yeah. Like early on, like New York, then going to Atlanta, just being where you sort of don't know necessarily what's next, and it is no result of how you've been playing because you were playing great.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had a really solid rookie campaign. I would say that, and then my second year, new coaching staff. Derek Fisher comes in, our head coach, Phil Jackson, front office of the Knicks, president, all that good stuff, and then. The season doesn't go well. I get traded to Atlanta. Mike Budenholzer, love the guy to death, told me I wasn't going to sit down. I wasn't going to play for the first 25 games. Like, I don't even care if someone gets injured or someone is sick or whatever. You're not playing. You're not suiting up. So right there, that was like a culture shock, more of like a get your shit together type of moment. And it's sent down to was called the D League, now the G League. Get sent down there, 3 stints. Had Christmas, but I had to leave on the 26th to go down there and miss New Year's with my teammates in Atlanta, all that stuff. I went into the summer saying, fuck this. I will not be doing that again. Like, I'm leaving my team on Christmas, New Year's Eve, like all that good stuff. Like, ain't no way. Busted my ass in the summer, had a great year there. And then it just kind of took off from that point. So, yeah, it was, I would say it was a little bit of basically like a get your shit together type moment. So you could stay relevant in the league. And that's what I tried to do to the best of my ability. And just getting, I wouldn't say jerked around as much and not getting really that much respect, but just going out there and proving a point that I do belong in the league and definitely do belong on a team, and I could flourish in a system-oriented team that plays the right way and does all the right shit all the time. So with that, it was always look back to my second year in Atlanta being like the base of where I want to be as a player, because that was, I think, probably my best year playing and one of the most fun years of playing. And then obviously last year in Dallas and this year now.
You told me the Bud story, your first year in Atlanta, your third year in the league. You told me that Bud story a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you used these exact words, but you said something along the lines of Bud saved my career.
Yeah.
So I didn't really follow up at the time, but
yeah.
What were you doing? Like, it's not like you were a bad player. Were you being a knucklehead? Were you just unprofessional? Like,
I was never.
Did he ever give you a reason why he's like, you're not playing the first 25 games? Did he give you a substantial reason?
Yeah, he didn't want me to. Coming from New York, have a good, solid, 2 years there. They didn't like the way I played. They said that you had to take better shots. They said that you have to play both ends of the floor better. You have to, go out there and dive on the floor for loose basketballs. You got to do all the little shit in order for us to get an idea of if we really want you to come out here and play for us. Like, while I'm already like on the team. So like after the trade. So, it was to a point where it was like a test. Like, I thank him dearly because he came to me man to man, face to face, and told me what it was. And if you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. We're trying to make you into a professional NBA basketball player, two-way player that we want you to be for our team. So, I just try to keep my nose and and keep my ears all around Kyle Korver, Thabo Cephalosha, Kent Bazemore, the guys that I was playing behind, pick their brains to see what I can do to be that guy that Coach Budenholzer wanted me to become. So it was times where I did 3-minute runs for, I think, 2 to 3 times a week. 3-minute run, break, then 3-minute run. You had to get the first one 28, and then the next one had to be 27 and a half, close to 28, because that second one is always a killer. But just to show that you're in shape, and then after that, go out there and defend the best player. Go out there and chase Kyle Korver around, see if you go around screens. It was all type of stuff, man. And, after that 25 games, I actually started one of them. We won that game, and I had 20-plus points and had like 2 or 3 steals and rebounded the ball great, assisted great, didn't have no turnovers. And from that point on, that was just like the base of my player development with them.
For the uninitiated, the 3-minute run is basically exactly how it sounds.
Yes,
it's a run for 3 straight minutes, and you just literally try to get as many lengths of the court, down and back, down and back, down and back, down and back, as you can in 3 minutes. And that first minute is fairly easy. And then as you make that turn at about length 12 in that second minute, there's a giant just weight. I don't even know how to describe it. A rhinoceros that jumps on your back. It's inevitable.
Man, I don't even want
to think about
that shit, man. Those 3.
We used to have to do it in preseason for the Magic, and everybody had to get a certain number. And I'm happy to say my best number was 29 3/4. I almost got to 30, and I've only heard of a few guys getting to 30. This is back when I was young and athletic and fast, and not a month away from my 37th birthday. We did it this year in New Orleans, and I thought I was in shape. I mean, I'd worked out all fall. I thought I was in shape, and I got 27, which was the minimum I had to get. I got 27, and I crossed the finish line with about 0.5 seconds to go. Like, I barely got it. I barely got it. When you were going through this in Atlanta, did you lean on your dad at all? Did you talk to him during this time period in terms of getting advice or just having an ear to talk to?
My dad, my agent, and my best friend. It was the only 3 people I talked to. The only 3. Well, two of my best buddies. 4 people. That was it. No one else. I couldn't talk to my mom because my mom was like, "Oh, like Mom, I don't need that right now. Like I need you to be hard nosed on me like you were when I was in high school and in college. Like, that's what I need from you." And then, but yeah, it was those 4, to be honest with you, that really helped me out. And my agent, Mark Ballstein, definitely helped me out in that situation. Just being that middleman to letting me understand what was going on and letting me know what the coaching staff and the front office was thinking throughout the whole entire process, just so I could go to sleep with a clear mind. And it was a good test for me for my career. So I appreciated it a lot.
Let's be honest, most guys hate shopping for pants. I'm probably guilty of that. But finding a good pair of sweats is even more frustrating. The length is never quite right. The waist always feels too big or too small. You know the deal. And the ones that do fit okay usually wear out immediately, or they're not the best looking thing to be seen in. I mean, I'd rather be caught dead than wear my favorite pair of sweats outside of the house. That's why you've got to check out Public Rec. They make leisure wear in waist and inseam sizes because comfort starts with a better fit.
That's right, JJ. Their best-selling all-day, everyday pants are a more stylish alternative to sweatpants and a more comfortable alternative to jeans. Their clothing is great for lounging at home, looking sharp for work, heading to the bar, and anywhere pants should be worn.
And like I said, the all-day, everyday pant comes in waist and inseam sizing, so they fit short guys, tall guys, and everyone in between. They're made from a breathable, stretchy, moisture-wicking fabric. You can wear them 24/7 and they'll look brand new. They also have zipper pockets and come in 9 different colors, one for each day of the week and then some. On top of that, they've got incredibly comfortable shorts, t-shirt, Henleys, polos, hoodies, jackets, even golf gear. And they just launched their women's line. So don't wait, these are always the top choice in my rotation. Who knew you could look so great in sweats? As the world's opening back up, make sure you've got clothes that are as flexible as your life is. Public Rec rarely discounts, but right now they have an exclusive offer just for the Old Man and the 3 listeners. Go to publicrec.com and use promo code OLDMAN, OLDMAN, to receive 10% off. That's publicrec.com and use our promo code OLDMAN for 10% off. Look, everyone hates moving. You never realize how much stuff you have until you start packing it all up. And even worse is the hassle of moving heavy furniture, taking it apart, putting it back together. It can be a total nightmare. I know, I've moved plenty of times. This is my 6th team. But now there's a furniture brand that might make this whole process a lot easier, because it might as well be made for moving. Burrow. Burrow's innovative modular design and super helpful instructions make assembling and disassembling your furniture quick and hassle-free. That's why, when it's time to move, your Burrow furniture won't hold you back.
It's designed for the way you live. Their credenzas are perfect for your TV with adjustable height interior shelves and cord organizing holes at each corner. Their award-winning Nomad sofa has a built-in USB charger, and the cushions are incredibly wide and deep. Because, let's face it, if you're going to be watching your favorite teams win, or in some of our listeners' cases, lose, you might as well be comfortable, right?
When your favorite teams play, they lose, Tommy. Let's be honest. You're a Bears fan.
I'm a Cubs fan, too. Most of my favorite teams lose. I don't have any teams currently besides, I guess, the Mavericks that I'm cheering for that win. Everyone else loses.
You can ditch the warehouse and shop online. Everything is designed to work perfectly together in your living space, so all you've got to do is add it to your cart. Plus, Burrow's world-class support team is available for you whenever you need them. And to top it all off, Burrow offers fast, free shipping on every order. That's right, free shipping. So be smart and avoid the moving pitfalls. Right now, you can add $75 off your first order at burrow.com/JJ. That's Burrow, BURROW.com/JJ for $75 off your Burrow purchase. One more time, that's burrow.com/JJ.
What do you think you learned from the Knicks experience?
This guy here.
Knew it was coming up.
You know what's interesting? There's a certain even off. I just sorry to interrupt. even off camera, whatever, when we're not live, whenever we have any guy on, and whenever I talk to any guy in the league about this time period in Knicks culture, in the Knicks organization, there's not a lot of positive things that come out of it. So I'm going to let you off the hook here and just say, whatever you're about to say, it's okay.
It's gonna. No, you know what? I will say this though. I will say this. Being in New York, first of all, Mike Woodson, my guy, that guy.
Best guy.
Oh,
best guy.
He's awesome.
Had him in LA. Best guy.
He's awesome. And with the guys and the people my teammates that he had at the team that he had at the time with I wouldn't say the Eagles, but all the the accolades of All-Stars and defensive player of the year awards and guys with scoring titles, and I mean how he handled that group was phenomenal. I mean, I had Carmelo, Amari Stoudemire, Kenyon Martin, J.R. Smith, Raymond Felton, Ron Artest, who else? I had Iman Shumpert.
You named Tyson? Did you say Tyson? Was Tyson on that team?
Yeah, Tyson Chandler, Andrea Bargnani. Oh my God! You would have thought that team was going to the NBA Finals. That team was stacked, but we ended up missing the playoffs, and then with that, it just went downhill from there when I was in New York, and then my second stint there. We were doing great. We were doing a really good job. We were, with the team we had, we got to 500 in the first. We were a 500 team in, I think, in the first 40 games, 40 or I think it's either 40 or 50 games. We were a 500 team. We were in the 5th or 6th seed. And then we were playing Milwaukee. KP got hurt. That's when he tore his ACL, messed up his knee. And then I stopped playing a lot because I had a little stress fracture in my leg that I was playing through. So, I mean, after that, it just started going all downhill after that. So, but I would say that, with Jeff Hornacek as the coach and Fizdale is a great guy. He definitely helped with the leadership aspect for me moving forward. And, Coach Tibbs, he's doing an amazing job there now, so I can't really say anything else.
So your dad, I think his last All-Star appearance, you were basically like 6 years old.
Yeah.
And then he played another like 5 years after that. So you obviously have some memories from his time in the NBA. What was it like growing up as the son of an NBA player? And what were the memories when he played?
I'll start off with the memories when he played. I really don't remember much the Golden State days. I really do wish, though, I was there for that, because the stories I hear and the clips I watch on YouTube, I can only imagine how that crowd and how Oracle was at the time. I'm pretty sure they made that place hell for a lot of teams coming in there to play against them. But I do remember the times when we were at the Miami Arena, and the times that he was playing for the Dallas Mavericks for that 1 year. He in Miami, it was the only thing I could really remember him playing wise. It was just him and Alonzo Mourning having that 1-2 punch out there. That 1-2 punch was a great sight to see, how they played off of one another. And you had guys like Thunder Dan Marley and Rashawn Leonard, Keith Askins, and Bruce Bowen. Jesus, who else got a name? Ike Austin, Anthony Mason. Those days, Jamal Mashburn, those guys. That team right there. If it wasn't for the Bulls, they would have definitely got to the finals. And obviously the Knicks and Heat rivalry. No one could forget about that. That right there was crazy. You had Zoe and Patrick Ewing, both Hoyas going at it. And then my dad talking shit to Chris Childs and Charlie Ward the whole entire damn game. Van Gundy jumping on Alonzo Mourning's ankles and holding him down during brawls and shit. So it was it was crazy at the time. But just growing up and living with a dad like that, it's kind of hard. Like, I'm starting to realize that as I'm playing now. Like, guys are really not at home as much, and they try to. And when they are back at home, like, those practices and those type of days, like when you have to go into the gym and stuff like that, really interfere with the time you have with your kids and your family, because it's already bad enough you're on the road, and you can't really see them. But when you get back home, like, if you have kids that are going to school, you can't really take them to school. Your only time you can really see them is if you pick them up from school and you're there with them, and then you might end up having a damn game that night. So you're only seeing them for like 3 hours. So I understood what he had to do to make sure we lived a great life when I was growing up, and it was awesome when he was playing and being in Miami and having that great weather. It was awesome, man. It was awesome. But I also do know he had a job to do, and now I'm really, really understanding it.
Wait till you have kids, because that will hold true even more.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, in regards to an NBA season, yes, you're on the road a lot. Mm-hmm. Half the games are on the road. So half the days of the 8 months or 7 months, you're on the road, because there's days in between games. But even when you are home, it's hard to be present. It's hard to be present. Like if I'm home and it's a game day, my kids go to school, I go to shoot around, I'm napping in the afternoon, then I go to the arena. I probably sometimes won't even see my kids. Right. You know, when I was playing in Philly, I didn't see my kids on game days. It's hard. I read this article. I think it was about the time you were coming out. I think the Michigan website wrote it or something. Yeah. But it talked a little bit about that relationship with your dad growing up. And I can't remember the exact quote, but he said something along the lines of, I realized when he was 16 that I was coaching him instead of parenting him. Right. And that he was kind of hard on you as a player, not necessarily as a son, but as a player, he was hard on you. Did you ever, at any point in time, did you ever tell him to fuck off? No, I'm being dead serious. I really want to know this. All
right, so I think it was. I don't think I ever told him that like that. Like I couldn't curse in front of my parents. I couldn't curse in front of my mom to this day. I can't even say the word hell in front of my mom, let alone that. So it was just like, it was times where, I would like get upset and he'll see me upset and we'll go back and forth. And there'll be times where he'll be watching the game and I'm not watching basketball. I don't want to watch basketball. Like, I don't want to watch basketball with you. Like, I'll watch it in my room, but I don't want to watch it with you, like out there. And then we'll go back and forth and bigger back and forth. And we wouldn't talk for 2 weeks. He's like, T, I want you doing that out there on the floor. You're not doing that. Like I'm while we're watching like all these guys in the NBA, D Wade and all that stuff, like doing their thing. And like, I want you to do this. Like, I want you to do that. Like, and it got to a point where it was like, damn, like, where's the fun in it? Like I want to go out there and hoop and have fun. And this is when I'm like 14, 15 years old. Like, yo, you're taking the fun out, like the joy out of it. And then, like he said, like when I got to like going into my junior year of high school, he sat up in the stands, way up in the stands. And that my athletic director at the time, Miss McKinney, she I think was just trying to like tell him like relax, basically tell him like, yo, relax, like just watch, like watch your son go out here and compete, like have fun. And then after the game, we get into the car and we won the game and shit like that. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm dog shit tired. And then he's like, man, I just wanted to tell you something. And in my head, I'm like, oh, shit, here comes another lecture. Like, what did I do wrong now? He's like, man, I just want to apologize. I just want to say I'm sorry. And in my head, I'm like, I look at him like, what are you talking about? We just won. He's like, no, I just want to say I'm sorry for, like beating you up and like not beating me up physically, but like beating me up as far as with his words and him being negative and trying to coach me and trying to not foresee things through the eyes of a parent more and going about everything as a coach and coaching me up and having all these arguments. And once he did that, man, I just took off. I was so confident in my game, and I went to the summers wanting to get better each and every day. And you could ask him to this day. I kept on trying to ask him to work me out in the summertime when I got back from college. Just constant trying to go hard, trying to do whatever I could, get better. And it was times where he had to tell me to like slow down. You don't have to run to the spot. Just do your move hard and then just take your time getting back to where we started and go hard again instead of just going hard constantly. So it was after that, it was a lot of burden lifted off my chest and off my arms, shoulders.
But it sounds like that conversation allowed basketball for you to be fun.
Yeah.
It allowed it to be enjoyable for you. My dad was not an NBA player. My dad was he was a good high school player. He played D3 at Ohio Wesleyan for a couple years and he quit the team. But when I was, he coached me when I was 9. It did not go well. So we decided, Dad, you're not allowed to coach my teams anymore. Oh. So he said, okay. And then my first AAU tournament with the Roanoke Jaguars, it was 11 and under. We were in Charlottesville, Virginia, very first game. And I felt like he was antagonizing me from the stands. There were a lot of things being yelled at me throughout the first half. I did not appreciate it. So I'm not even 11 at the time. I was 10. So this is like April. Yeah. So I'm like 10 years old. So at halftime, the halftime buzzer rings. I run up in the stands and I'm like, Dad, will you just shut up? And I was crying. So I was just like hysterical. Dad, will you just shut up? And I ran back to my team. And from that point on, my dad was, and he still is, my biggest fan, my biggest encourager, my biggest sounding board. Every now and then again, he will text me, don't forget about your mid-range. Yeah. That's the only piece of coaching advice I've got from him. Don't forget about your mid-range. But he became like, I feel like the father-son thing, like it's inevitable that conversation has to happen at some point, I feel like. And I'm sure your dad Pops is super proud of you and what you've been able to accomplish so far in your NBA career, and there's a lot more to come.
Oh yeah, he's very happy. He tells me that every day. So thanks, Dad. Appreciate it.
All right, I do have to ask this before I let you go because it was in the news this week. We just had the Hall of Fame 2020 class enshrinement. They announced. Your dad was announced in March as the finalist for the 2021 class. They announced the 2021, class, the inductees, and Pops was left off again. I feel like next year's the year, and there's like a growing chorus now of Tim Hardaway needs to be in the Hall of Fame. In some ways, of course, he's whether rightfully or wrongfully, but he's been punished a little bit for some things that he said, but he's apologized. He's remorseful. I know Stan Van Gundy the other day was pining for him to be in the Hall of Fame next year. And I'm sure he's disappointed, but I'm hoping that he's in the Hall of Fame 2022 class.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. And after that, we normally don't talk on game days. Like we have like a family rule, like we don't talk during the game days until after the game, and just being it. I was like, this is a big deal. Just have to send him a text out and let him know that, like, I love him. Like, it's going to happen. It's just, you just got to sit back, relax, and just hope that it's going to happen soon. Just try to do the best you can because you deserve it. Everybody knows you deserve it. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a petition out for you to get in there. So, but like you said, like, he had to pay his dues, and he's done the best he could at this point moving forward, and like he deserves to be in there. So hopefully it's next year. Hopefully it is.
All right, Tim, we appreciate the time. I will see you very soon. Actually,
yeah, hopefully.
I'll see you very soon.
We're going to LA, so I'm pretty sure.
All right, man. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, man.